Hello, how are you guys this afternoon? Oh man, my brain's just going a million miles an hour. So, trying to slow it down. I think I'm doing pretty good with that, but I just have a lot of content I want to share with you guys. So, I hope you don't mind me coming on a little bit early. It is 12:17 on November 9th, Wednesday. Here we are. Um, Everything I say is my opinion only and purely for the sake of conversation, opening up a discussion, hopefully a little entertaining and mostly educational. Made sheerly for YouTubers. So, good afternoon, all of you YouTubers, all you cyber sleuths, right? Hey, Rhonda R. I always get your heads up videos, but never when you actually go live. Well, I just started. You're the first one to comment and everything. So, I can't believe I have 2 pages of notes already. It's only been a couple of hours. But, I'm really serious. For those who are not aware, I am a complete nerd, okay? I'm a complete academic weirdo. I've spent way too many years in school. I love learning. I love disseminating knowledge. I am extremely passionate about police reform. I'm extremely passionate about domestic violence reform, shall we call it? I'm extremely passionate about Miss Keily Rodni, and we got it all right here. So I'm just like, dang, here's my freaking dissertation, and I'm not kidding you. I am not freaking kidding you. Okay. I'm working on my application to get into a doctoral program where this could be my dissertation. I had not even thought about that until this morning. So, as you guys know, I am really, really serious about trying to affect positive change. I'm not here for trying to make money. I'm not here for trying to get attention. I'm not here for anything except positive change. So I appreciate your being here. I'm sick and tired of all the trolls. You guys are getting kicked out. I'm not going to apologize anymore. If you're being a jerk, you're gone. Okay. Funny, not funny. Found you in my home feed. Hello, Justice. I'm actually glad you went on early. Been missing the afternoon live streams. I bet Jagger is thrilled about AWP. I hope he's shitting his pants. Um, you know, I try to be kind to everyone, as you guys might know if you've been watching my show for a while. I've only been on for a couple of months. Amazingly, astoundingly, I'm getting close to 3,000 subs and close to 300,000 views in just about 70 days. So who knew? I guess a couple of my friends who'd been telling me to do this for a long time said I would be good. And I'm like, what makes you think that? And they're just like, I just know it. And I'm like, yeah, right. Okay, whatever. I doubt it because I hate computers. I hate technology. Um, I'm not into being on the screen. So my friend who set me up with my YouTube channel said something to me about as you get more comfortable talking to your computer screen. And I was just like, what? What a weird idea to wrap my mind around. But as you can tell, if you've been watching my show, my channel, I'm getting more comfortable. I mean, I feel like you guys are my friends and family, and I'm not saying that to be a goofball, and I'm not saying that to get your affection. I'm saying it because as you hear other content creators talk about it, you develop a relationship with your viewers, and it's a lot of love. I know it sounds goofy and all that jazz, but it really is about peace, love, justice, right? That is why we're here. That's why the bunny rabbit's here, right? So let's just get down to business. We always just want to get right into it, right? Thank you, friend, for helping setting up her YouTube. That's so cute. Yeah, that friend is awesome. So awesome. Absolutely. And if they ever want a shout out, I will more than happily give them a shout out. But for right now, I'm going to keep it private. Okay. So, and my 10-year-old daughter helped me get it set up too. So it was my friend and my 10-year-old daughter. So That's cute. And then I got my 15-year-old to help me whenever I was having trouble. So, my husband, my 18-year-old, my 20-year-old, they maybe have helped a tiny bit, but not that much. Mom's just out doing her own weird thing as usual. Gee whiz, folks. So you guys are awesome. I love you. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate all of my peers. Like I've said, I can't believe I can call them my peers. All of these brilliant content creators that you guys know I give so many shout outs to. And I want you to know that who I'm watching and who I am like taking in and maybe regurgitating a little bit. I always try to give credit where credit is due if I can remember. I'm just doing my best here. So I am not perfect. I don't know everything. I don't think I know everything. In fact, there are many times where I really, honestly, truly hope I'm wrong. Okay. This is one of those times. I'm going to just spit it out because you know how I am. I just like to spit it out. Okay. Are you ready? Are you sitting down? This is not news to anybody that's been paying attention to the case, but it's looking like the trafficking is a distinct possibility. And I hope it's not. I hope I'm wrong. Although, if that meant that Kiely were still alive, then Lord have mercy, right? So this morning I had mentioned Mr. Kevin Neese, and he was in the chat, and it's just such an honor when these awesome content creators show up in my chat. I really appreciate that. And I just love the way we're all like synergistically working together. And even if you're not a content creator and you're just a YouTube watcher and you're not even in chat and you're just quiet, that's cool. Like, we are all in this together. Like, we're all doing our part, right? Whatever it is that you're comfortable with, whatever ability you have. So I did get to watch Kevin Neese's 45-minute video at double speed while I was doing some yoga. Yeah, I'm a multitasker. I try. There's so much that I'd love to get accomplished. So the 45-minute one was about trafficking. I have not yet watched his 80-minute one that was kind of a summarization yesterday. I think he did a live. So I do want to watch that. I really respect Kevin Neese's opinion, not just because he's retired law enforcement, but because he's just a good person and he's just straight up and he doesn't put on any airs. And I hope I don't either. I try really hard not to put on any airs. So if you ever see me putting on an air, call me out in chat, okay? I'm serious. I'm so serious. So let me just get really down to the nuts and bolts because, like I said, I already have 2 pages of notes that I feel like are extremely relevant content to share with you guys so that we can just keep running with this. And if Kiely's not being trafficked, then we can rule that out. Sadly, that would probably mean that she actually is deceased, which is kind of what we've all been thinking, right? But after watching Kevin Neese's brand new one about trafficking, it almost it really brought back for me the movie called Traffic. And it's now 22 years since that movie came out. And so I was looking it up because I've thought about that movie a lot in relationship to this case. And I forgot that that's where Benicio del Toro won his Oscar. Did he win that Oscar? I think he won that Oscar. And I was already a huge Benicio del Toro fan, and nobody knew who he was. He is the bomb, the bomb. So if you have not seen Traffic, or if you haven't seen it in 22 years, we probably all would like to go rewatch it, right? That whole movie was based on a true story in Cincinnati. And you guys know I live in Ohio. So I actually took a screenshot to read to you. I don't usually like to pull out my phone because then I'll just get lost in phone land, right? And just like hijacks your brain. Okay, so here we go. You ready? Uh, this is what it says on the internet about traffic. A look at America's war on drugs through several interconnected stories. Ohio's Supreme Court judge is appointed as the nation's drug czar, unaware that his own daughter is a heroin addict. Two DEA agents pursue the wife of a jailed drug baron who seeks to control his lucrative business. And a Mexican cop takes a lone stand against the powerful cartels in his community. That's my man Benicio. Uh, Javier Rodriguez is his character in the movie. He's amazing and hot. Yeah. So this story could be like a virtual template of what we see going on here in Truckee. I mean, right down to the Mexico connection, right? Are you aware of the cartel who is in charge in that area? They are heavy human trafficking. The thing about this movie, Traffic, is when it came out and it got a lot of attention and everybody was like recommending it to everybody else. People thought it was about drug trafficking, which it is. It is about drug trafficking, but it's about all kinds of trafficking. And it's about all kinds of addictions, all kinds of addictions. So it was extremely eye-opening for, I think, our entire country that just was caught up in this tragic movie. And oh, Topher Grace, you know, the guy from that 70s show, he has a leading role in it and he plays a dirt bag, just like some of these dirt bags, what we see in this terrible, sad story with Ms. Keily Rodni. Topher Grace kicked butt. But also, just know that Ashton Kutcher from that 70s show quit Hollywood to fight against human trafficking. Do you guys know that? Ashton Kutcher, who was married to Demi Moore, stopped his acting career so that he could be full-time fighting against human trafficking. Let that sink in, okay? So again, you know, we are here for Miss Keily Rodni, but even if she hasn't been trafficked and is not being trafficked, we know that trafficking is a thing that needs attention and that there's people being victimized. So one of the things I wanted to address that I thought was brilliant that Kevin Meese spoke to in his video is how people were saying to him in his chat, or in emails, like, why wouldn't Kylie have asked for more help from Nick, the roadside assistance guy? Why wouldn't she have done this? Why wouldn't she have done that? Why wouldn't she have gotten away? And he, you know, doesn't have a lot of patience for that crap because he's just like, you know, you're ignorant. You've never been in a situation like that. You've never known that those situations are real. Man, when somebody's in a real life situation and they know that the blink of an eye, if they make one false move, they could be dead, right? Have you ever been in a situation like that? I've talked about it a lot, like with that movie Blink, sorry, book called Blink. I don't think they've done a movie, and The Gift of Fear. Now, both of those focus on learning how to trust your instinct, how to trust your gut reaction, how to know fight and flight, and how to save yourself, and how to know who to trust and who not to trust. Right here, this is the only one I can trust. You guys shouldn't trust me. You are the only one that you can trust. Seriously, I'm just trying to boil it down. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. We can only trust ourselves. People turn on people. Unfortunately, spouses turn on spouses. Children turn on parents. Parents turn on children. We're all human. None of us are perfect. We are all trying our best and hopefully treating the people around us with a lot of respect and kindness. And hopefully they're treating us the same way. And if you're in a situation where people are not treating you with respect and kindness, tell them to take a hike, or you take a hike. It's not worth it. It breaks down everything in your system to be hanging out with somebody that doesn't respect you or that you don't respect. Just say no. Autonomy and solitude is much better than being in an unhealthy relationship. I learn something every time I watch you, Justice. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. That's so sweet. And it's like I want to help. I am quite the codependent. That is my Achilles heel. I love helping people, and so much that it can be my biggest fault. It can be my biggest gift, and it can be my biggest fault. So I have to be careful of that and harness it and utilize it because, codependency is real. Codependency is real. And, being more concerned about other people than yourself is kind of an inherent trait for nurses. Nurses are some of the smartest, most trustworthy, and one of the most dangerous professions to be in psychologically. Nurses can really lose the ability to take care of themselves. They can be so good at taking care of everybody around them and so bad at taking care of themselves. So, back to what Kevin Neese was saying about when someone's in a situation like that, where they are in fight and flight and every millisecond counts. Not only are they pumped up on adrenaline and trying to make sure they don't screw up and end up in an even worse situation, but if you've ever been in a situation like that, you know that there's also that sense of surreal that you can't even believe what is happening is happening. You know what I'm talking about if you've ever been in a horrible situation like that. And people talk about out of body experiences. There's just a lot that a person goes through. And yeah, if you're in a situation where you're say you're in that situation that girl was in at the car at Boca with the Nick, the roadside assistance guy, and the other guy who may or may not be Jagger. Say you're that girl and you're freaking out about what the guy is doing, what's been happening all night, what you're afraid might happen. Just put yourself in that situation for a second, for real. And your phone is dead or your phone is gone. I mean, that's what abusers do. They isolate you because you're more vulnerable. It's easier to victimize someone that's more vulnerable. And perps are cowards and they do not want to lose. They don't want to be in a situation where they're trying to abuse somebody and that person gets away or kicks their butt. They specifically prey on people that they think that they can overpower. It's all about power and control, people. So I don't like to find myself on my soapbox that I so often find myself on. I just feel like I have a lot of knowledge that I want to share. Phantasmic Ether says, definitely have been there, like you're in another world and it's grippingly terrifying. Feels like a horrible nightmare or horror movie, sickening, right? And that's what I was going to say, is that for anybody who's had that nightmare where their feet are like cement and they can't run, those are the types of things that people experience in real life, like the deer in headlights. You do not know how you're going to respond to a situation until you're in it. And there's so many variables. There's so many variables. For instance, Kevin Neese brought this up. We don't know if the dude with the girl had a weapon. We don't know. He probably did, is what Kevin said. And I think Kevin is probably right. So another thing I did after this morning's video was I rewatched Squirrel Girl's interview with Nick, because I was thinking more about how each one of us is going to see it through our own lens, and we're all going to have a different take on it. And I thought, my goodness, you see what you want to see, you hear what you want to hear. How much did I inaccurately absorb because of my own lens? So I rewatched it, and I think there was a lot that I inaccurately absorbed because of my own lens. So I'm pretty sure in the second time around that Squirrel Girl and Nick make no bones about the fact that they have no idea who the guy in the hat is. They have no idea. No idea. Maybe Jagger, may not be Jagger. They don't know. Okay. They both are 100% sure in their minds that it was Kiely that introduced herself to him as Kiely. And it's interesting because it's a juxtaposition to what AWP represented in their first video. And hopefully we'll get more video from them. They made it sound more like he could completely ID the guy and not the girl. But it sounds like the reverse is true. And that maybe was intentional, maybe was unintentional, you know? It's just hard to say. And a lot of it when you're dealing with a video like theirs, a lot of it comes down to the editing. What ends up on the cutting room floor, so to speak, and just how it's spliced together and the order that it's spliced together, all of that is going to influence the conclusions that the viewer may or may not have. Justice coming soon. It's interesting now that his company is saying there is no video footage when he knew there was video footage of it. So there's so many unanswered questions. I know. And, you know, a lot of people in a work situation like that need their job. You know, they're bringing in the bread and the butter for their family. They got to pay their bills. It's hard to start a new job when you're comfortable in your job. A lot of people in Nick's situation with that situation, I think could have easily just sucked it up and said, okay, sure, I wasn't out there. I'll just play along because I want to keep this job, and just kept their thoughts and feelings about it to themselves. That's what I think the bosses were banking on. I don't know. I mean, I'm jumping to conclusions there, but you know, there's just so many plates spinning in this story. And as I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to shut anybody down, just be warned, if you bring up all the drama with the cast and crew of AWP and the challenges that they're facing, that is all very real. It's all very important. I'm sure that they'll get it sorted out. I'm not going to let it distract me from my focus on Ms. Keily Rodni. Okay. Let me have a word with Alexa real quick. Hey, Alexa, light on. Okay. Oh, she likes me. It's so funny how the lighting is, you guys. It's just so funny. It just changes. And then especially with daylight saving. So, you know, I think I have a handle on it, and then things just kind of morph around. Anyway, I thought of something totally empirically important with this whole thing when I re-listened to Squirrel Girl, to her 45-minute video, or was it a 42-minute video from yesterday? 42. I wrote it down. It's hard to remember things if you don't write them down. I had not even thought about this until I re-listened. It didn't even cross my mind that maybe Ms. Keily Rodni's mother, Lindsay, and father, Daniel, maybe they did not contact Nick, the roadside assistance guy, because they were never informed about him contacting law enforcement. So remember, he contacted law enforcement on or about August 13th. He said it was about a week later. It would be good to get that information more specifically. Exactly when he spoke with law enforcement, exactly when he discussed the footage with them. And that's what I was going back in there to listen to was, did he speak with them about the footage after he knew they watched it? I'm not even sure yet. I might have to listen to it a third time. I mean, it sounds so silly when you say you listen to these things again and again, but this is why, because there's so much content there, even when you're taking it slow and taking notes and staying focused. You know, your mind goes in different directions, and then the phone rings or dog needs to be let out. Anyway, so perhaps Ms. Keily Rodni's mother and father did not contact Nick, the roadside assistance guy, because they never knew about it until later. I'm just saying, we don't know. We cannot jump to these conclusions. Perhaps they were threatened. Perhaps. There's probably a list of about 1,000 different perhaps, right? I'm just going with the ones that come to the top of my mind. So we all remember how angry law enforcement was with AWP when they discovered the car and the body in it. Law enforcement was spitting nails and they were trying their best to not let that show. And they did not do a very good job of hiding it, in my opinion. But that's good information to know. Why would law enforcement be angry with AWP succeeding at what they were failing at? Other than jealousy? I mean, sure, there's that, but it's a lot bigger than that, in my opinion. And then Kylie's friends and her family were pretty upset with them. It seems that some of Kylie's family was not even the slightest bit upset with them. So I want to acknowledge that it definitely appeared to me that Ms. Keily Rodni had family members, and the two most obvious are her father, biological father, Daniel Rodni, and her granddad, David Robertson, who were not the least bit upset with AWP. They were upset. Why it took AWP to find her if she was right there. They were spitting nails. They were dumbstruck, absolutely dumbfounded. They were pissed. You could tell. Okay. Excuse me. Let me read some of these while I drink. The only two outsiders are Nick and AWP. They told the truth and blew up the cover up. That's why locals were so mad at them. Right. I'm going to highlight that. It's very, very well stated and direct. And putting it very simply, because all this stuff just makes your head spin. It's just so much information and it's so mind-boggling. So, just going back to the basics, just staying centered and taking care of yourself, trusting your gut, trusting your instinct, knowing what's right, knowing what's wrong. So we cannot be 100% sure that that was Kylie, in my opinion. Although I completely believe Nick, I completely believe Squirrel Girl are 100% sure that it was Kylie. I'm in a different camp. I think it very, very, very likely was Kylie. But that's kind of, I don't know. I mean, will we ever see that video? Obviously, that video was destroyed, or that computer generated footage was destroyed. Is it still in a cloud somewhere? Is it still recoverable? My guess is that it is probably recoverable somewhere, but that there's some people that are in very high positions of authority that will never let that out. So we will probably never know. Jagger was so sure there was no roadside assistance, she never called. How would he know if he wasn't there? And yeah, I mean, Jagger's just such a cocky motherfucker. I'm just going to say it and not apologize. Cocky. Sammy's cocky. Jagger's cocky. What could you possibly have to be cocky about when your loved one, when your dear friend, your estranged girlfriend, what could you be cocky about when she's missing and dead? What in the world would make you cocky? That, to me, is hard freaking evidence. There's my mod. I agree with alias. Yeah. And then what does John have to say? Why didn't Squirrel Girl record her conversation with Nick? The roadside assistance guy, let me finish reading that before I respond. And release that on YouTube since it's just hearsay. Ellie can easily brush it off. Correct. And it's a good question. My guess is that Nick may not have wanted her to record it, or maybe she didn't record it. I mean, it's I don't know what state she's in, and Nick would be in Nevada. Um, California is a one-party state for recording. Ohio is a one-party state for recording. There are states where you have to have both parties informed consent to record. So I don't know. There's a lot of different directions you could go with that, but it absolutely is just hearsay at this point, John. So thank you for your comment, because that is very accurate, and I think we all need to remember that. Moxie McMahon, I feel so badly for Nick, though, that he basically risked his life to come forward to tell the truth, and Jared put it behind a paywall. Oh, good point. I wish I had money to give him. To give to Nick. Yeah, I mean, he hopefully is lawyered up, because when you're involved in a situation like that, you need to be lawyered up, even if you're 100% innocent. How many people in total are involved in the cover-up? Real question, no disrespect intended. Oh, yeah, I would not have read any disrespect into that, but thank you. I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to be threatening by saying, trolls beware. I'm just trying to be threatening to the trolls. Trolls beware. So yeah, if you're genuine and authentic, don't be scared. And if let's say somebody gets blocked accidentally, just try to email me and I'll forward it to my mod. You guys know my email, justice, ATOOZ @gmail.com. So yeah, that's just a really good point. Let me answer that question. How many people in total are involved in the cover-up? Real question, no disrespect intended. That's a really good question, because I think it's a lot. Oh, Jelly Bean says she's in Michigan. Thanks, Jelly Bean. I think it is a lot. In Michigan, such a beautiful state, by the way, in case you don't know. If you've got at least two county sheriff offices and the California Highway Patrol and the FBI and the town of Truckee, and then the numbers of people in those 5 things that I listed, and that's just for starters. So what? You're going to have probably at least, let's just say 10, just to be conservative, at least 10 people from each of those things that I mentioned that are probably implicated and guilty and could face punishment in a court of law. So maybe 50 people. But remember, go back to this movie called Alpha Dog that was about Jesse James Hollywood kidnapping a kid in California about 20 years ago and then murdering that kid. They had, I think, over 260 people get prosecuted in that case, if I'm remembering accurately. Like, this could be, probably is, a historical event that we're watching unfold. Damn. So Jelly Bean says, she stated she lives in Michigan. I responded to her when she stated it as I live in Michigan as well. Yeah, and I don't know if it was a concern about California is now a 2-party state, though. I'm not sure. We can look that up. Yeah, I thought that somebody in this case or another case had been looking at that for some purpose, but maybe it was something else, and maybe it was old news. Anyway, I don't know when it changed. Isn't it sad how so many people have to be worried about losing their lives or family harm, all because some higher power doesn't want to be truthful about a 16-year-old's death? Right, a 16-year-old's death or trafficking. It's disgusting. It's absolutely despicable. But what these people don't understand is that, YouTube is viral. It's absolutely viral. Anything happens to any of these content creators, that's going to go viral, and they're just going to keep digging their graves deeper, their own graves, right? I mean, we all need to watch our safety regardless of YouTube, right? I mean, there's just a lot of whack jobs out there. We all need to maintain our personal safety at all times. But to try to silence people on YouTube with threats is just more revealing. It's just more revealing. Like, why would you be trying to silence people on YouTube unless people on YouTube are actually hitting the nail on the head, right? I just wanted to throw in a bit of humor. Oh, yes, I love humor. It's so important. Okay. So let's see what it is. Is it funny? ABC 10 reported this morning that Placer County sheriffs had to transport a whole bunch of ballots through their snowstorms yesterday. I wonder if they won. Oh, that's just too funny and ironic too, because the snow is what they need for the money to come in so that they can, the more money they have come in legitimately, the more of their illegitimate money they can launder. So I was hitting on that yesterday with like cities and how they launder money through developments and projects. So they might get like a $5 million budget. Let's say they get a $5 million grant from the government. That $5 million is going to be a festivity of laundering and the shell game and, you name it. It's a thing, and it's been going on for a very long time. And, the FBI has been busting up some of that, at least in my state. And I am extremely thankful of that. Sheriff Wu is sheriff for a reason. Compromised people follow orders. I'm not even going to highlight that because it's so creepy. But yeah, thank you for just speaking the truth. Painful. The unvarnished truth. They really, really need to do a DNA on whatever remains are left of who was found in that car. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's hard to say what's going on with the family, what they know or don't know. As you guys know, if you've been keeping up with my shows, I have been very hesitant to suspect Kylie's mother or stepfather of anything for a lot of reasons. And I think that it is time to suspect them for a lot of reasons. So I think one of the biggest red flags with the stepfather is his silence, his deafening silence. When have we heard more than one or two words come out of his mouth? And he just does not look like a well person. I'm just going to say it. Okay. That's my opinion. I'm allowed to have an opinion. I'm allowed to share it. And he's got a bad rap sheet. He's got a sordid history. So, why? And I'll just leave the rest of it alone. I don't want to go there. In some places, blackmail is the only way you get power. And there's so much emotional blackmail that, isn't even like spoken or illegal. I mean, it's not illegal to emotionally blackmail people, right? You can do that without breaking the law. People do it all the time. Rhonda R has a question, and then I'm going to get back to my notes. So let me highlight this one. Replace pinned message. I have a question. They say Kylie had no trauma, but according to some, she fell in a hole. Don't you think she would have? Yeah. Would have some type of marks. Absolutely. And the vehicle getting flipped over underwater with her in it. Of course there would have been trauma. That's like disgusting and ridiculous. So all that's just pilot crap, right? So, it's really interesting to me that Squirrel Girl's video came out yesterday morning, and Mountain Girl 212 came out with a new video yesterday morning. I think she did two yesterday after a long hiatus. And Upchurch came out with a couple videos the night before last that he deleted, and then one from yesterday morning that he left up. Fortunately, I caught the two from the night before live before he deleted them. So, I'm a big fan of Upchurch. I just think it's fascinating that all three of those came out, basically at the same time after Mountain Girl 212 and Upchurch had backed way off of this. So it's just very interesting to me. And I want to give a shout out to Muse News. I love that woman and her channel. And I don't know if you guys are that familiar with her, but check her out. Give her some love and subscribe and some likes and clicks and shares if you feel that that's something that you want to do. The thing I really liked about Squirrel Girl and Nick's presentation of themselves and how Squirrel Girl presented it is she stated that she had given this so much thought and prayer. And she also stated that Nick had given it a lot of thought and prayer, and that she was one of many people he tried to contact him. And she was the only one that he selected that he felt like they had this connection. So I just think that that's relevant. It's relevant to me, just trusting a higher power in this freaking mess. Plunder does Bible verses at the end of every show, and she's wonderful. Living Lake Time, Casey does a lot with Bible verses, and I just think that whatever your religion is, or atheism, I think it's important to feel like there's some higher power, even if that higher power is your parents or your social group, your coffee circle, your employer, some power outside of yourself that we can get so caught up in ourselves. There's a higher power. There is definitely a higher power. And whatever you feel like is your higher power, I think is very personal. And I try not to bring religion into this. I try not to bring politics into it. I'm here to focus on justice for Kiely. I'm here to focus on diminishing social stigma with domestic abuse and violence against women. I'm here to shine a light, hopefully, in law enforcement and law enforcement rebuilding the integrity that they have lost. There has been a lot of corrupt law enforcement for a long time, and they've gotten away with a lot for a long time. And that's not going to happen anymore with technology the way it is. It's just not. I mean, they can go ahead and keep trying, but like I said, they're just going to keep digging themselves deeper. They're going to have to wake up, in my opinion. Okay. So, we need to be cautious. We need to be aware of safety issues all the time. And I like to say it's the silliest things that are going to get us, I do a lot of dangerous activity with landscaping and tools and things like that. And then it's like tripping over that empty plastic water bottle that will try to break my leg. There's danger everywhere, right? So we just need to be careful, and we cannot be silenced. I cannot be silenced. I think that that's an individual choice that we each need to make. We need to weigh out what our feelings are, what our beliefs are. I absolutely will not be silenced. No way. Not happening. So I'm really happy to have this platform. I'm really happy to have people listening, and I'm just extremely appreciative. So thank you guys. So one of the things that having a larger platform helps with is safety, because let's say that I'm saying what I say today and then I disappear in a few hours. You guys will all be suspicious of that and you'll run with it, right? Please. No, I'm just kidding. You just never know. You never know. But it's addressed in that movie that I've mentioned a couple of times. Fabulous, fabulous movie called The Insider with Russell Crowe. And Walter Cronkite played himself in that movie, and that movie is 100% a true story about big tobacco companies, and or a big tobacco company specifically, and big money. Like, that's like some of the biggest money there is in the world, tobacco. And Russell Crowe, his character, they were trying to silence him. They were basically trying to Karen Silkwood him, which is why he went to the media and taped a bunch of interviews with Walter Cronkite in this movie. And then they together carefully, precisely determined when each interview would be released. And it was like a balancing act. They couldn't release it too soon or it would put them in more danger. They couldn't hold on to it for too long or it would put them in more danger. So they had to release each interview at exactly the right time. So it's a fascinating movie and it's a fascinating concept. But again, movies are imitations of life and life is imitations of movies. So, these are some brilliant movies. I really recommend, if you have not seen Insider, you will probably really like it as a true crime aficionado. And same thing with Traffic. So I want to address social status, clout chasing, and another term for it, social cash. So your social status, your social cash, your social clout is all extremely relevant in pretty much any social situation. So, if people just think that you're a junkie, they're not going to listen to you. They're not going to give you the time of day. And if people think that you are super important because your parents and your grandparents and great grandparents are rich as F, then they will listen to you. But there's a lot in between. So, we all have our social cash, our social clout, our social status, whether we realize it or not. So, I don't even want to mention mine because it's just kind of embarrassing, really. I mean, I don't like to be like that, but I'll go ahead and throw it out there so you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm a white woman. I'm middle class. I grew up in a family with military and first responders. I'm well educated. I've been married for 30 years and I have 4 children. All of those things give you a lot of clout and status and cash. They do. And I feel kind of bad for saying that because I don't think I'm any more deserving of social cash than anyone else. And I am shy about sharing some of those things sometimes because I don't want people to think I'm like showing off or I don't want people to be jealous. We're all in this together. As long as you are doing your best, it doesn't matter to me what kind of social status, clout, or cash you have. So I just want to be clear about that. I'm going to, Dana Berger, I just looked up and I saw your thing and I was reading it backwards the way I sometimes do in my dyslexic mind. Dana says, I'm going to stick my neck out and say at this point, there's multiple states and multiple law enforcement agencies that have cases that seem very suspicious in many similar ways. Right. And wouldn't it be nice if Ms. Keily Rodni, whether she's dead or alive, wouldn't it be nice if she could be a young female Elliot Ness superhero of her time and put an end to some of this crap? I mean, even if she's deceased, as her legacy, as people remembering her, as her leaving a positive mark on humanity, right? So let's see. That was all just one page and I'm at 50 minutes. So I guess we need to go take a nap now. Let me try to get through page 2 and stay real focused and simplify. All right. you can hop on her chat while you're on live right now. Tell her to have Sammy go to her cell phone records online, save them up to a year, and print that bill. And print the bill that month. We need 1236 proof. That's hilarious. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that, but I'm going to get back on my notes. Okay. So, this dang GoFundMe crap. My mod says, yes, Tim Norton, we need more likes on the live. Okay, thank you for reminding me, mod. Please hit the like button, share, subscribe if you feel so moved. It does a lot to help the channel. So let's see. I wanted to mention the GoFundMe. I mean, my mind was kind of getting hijacked by this new $1 million GoFundMe. That's other information. I'm trying to stay focused on Miss Keily Rodni. Ms. Keily Rodni. So what blows my mind is a parent who would take a GoFundMe account down, or actually, no, take a reward for finding a child, take that down the night before a professional, volunteer, amateur, whatever you want to call it, AWP, the night before they started their search. Okay, so Friday night, August 19th, Lindsay Neiman Rodney took down the $75,000 reward, or she changed the wording. So she made it a GoFundMe for helping Kylie's family. And then Saturday morning, the first day of AWP searching, she was getting an early sushi lunch, I think at 11 o'clock. Or no, that was Sunday. I'm sorry, I'm off a day. I make my mistakes, right? So Sunday at 11:30, she was getting an early sushi lunch when AWP discovered the car. And she wanted to complain about them not calling her, not contacting her, when they have a set plan of a family member that exchanged information with them so that they could contact that family member and that family member could contact everybody else. And they did their part. And that was in the video, the members only video. And the family requested that they take that part out because they said it was so personal and painful. And AWP did not argue with them. They said, well, we're sorry. We thought it was a really relevant part of the story, but we will gladly oblige by your request and take it out for you because that's the type of people that we are. And then the family turned around and used that against them. No good deed goes unpunished. So it was not in the video that the mass majority of people saw. And then the family went on to say, well, they didn't contact us. We found out on Facebook. I was at a restaurant eating sushi and my waitress told me that they saw it on Facebook. I'm sorry. What? If my kid was missing, I would not be out getting sushi at no freaking restaurant. I would be a nervous wreck. I would be bawling my head off. I would be concerned about being in public because I would be a basket case and I probably wouldn't have much of an appetite, but I would try to eat. But I would definitely not be going to a restaurant, especially knowing that the professionals are here and that they're probably going to find something, hopefully, if there's anything to find. And at the same time, you're hoping that they don't find anything because you're hoping that your person is alive and well and that they just got amnesia or something. And that's possible. Those things happen. It's called a fugue state. Have you guys heard of that? That's like the psychobabble term. People can literally have their brains completely cleared of all information, whether it's from a trauma, a physical trauma, a psychological trauma, or who knows. And then they don't know their name, their phone number, their address. These are very, very rare cases, but it does happen. And you do hear about these people sometimes being found after 20 or 40 years. It's crazy. Anything's possible. Life is crazy. Anyway, let's just get back down to the basics. It just gets so cray cray. So cray cray. So yeah, AWP was searching on the first day at Boca Donner Stampede. And then day 2, they went straight to Prosser. And I don't think anybody expected them to go to Prosser. I don't think they consulted with anybody. And I think that's part of why law enforcement was pissed, was because they probably felt like AWP should have gotten pre-authorization from them. I know it sounds stupid, but that's my logic, that they had told AWP it had been cleared many times over. You don't need to waste your time there. There's a whole bunch of other bodies of water, a whole bunch of other bodies of water, a whole bunch. I mean, not just the ones that I've named. That's leaving out Tahoe, which is gargantuan. And that's leaving out probably 100 other smaller ones that are just too many to name. Troll alert. My mod will take them out, man. That's what she does. That's why she's here. She's going to kick some butt, some troll butt. And maybe Kevin Neese can come in and he can have them with barbecue sauce. Okay. So thank you, Kevin Neese, for your wisdom and your humor and your music. Let's see. You guys ready? I got one for you. It's big, and yet it is really basic. It's really back to where we started. It's very profound. I want you to be ready. I'm going to tell you right now, okay? Handmaid's Tale. Remember, Lindsay Neiman had Handmaid's Tale as her like profile picture for her Facebook or her social media when this started, right? And then she changed it a few days in. The Handmaid's Tale. Is that what's going on here? Are we back to the whole trafficking thing? I'm just kind of going with the video that I watched of Kevin Neese's, and I highly recommend it for anybody who's interested. The one that he put out last night, that's basically called Trafficking or something like that. So, I don't like to point the finger at anybody. I don't like to be suspicious of anybody, but I'm also not going to shy away from truth. And these persons of interest, the closest people to Kiely, her circle of friends and her family, those are the most important people for law enforcement to interview. If they ever did interview anybody after 2 weeks of searching, 1 week of that, knowing that they Deep 86 that videotape, they packed it in. They packed it in on Friday the 19th. They said, well, we're done with our search and we're going to focus more now on other aspects of the investigation, specifically interviews. Okay. Did they ever interview people? I mean, they should have been interviewing them from go, and not just interviewing them, interrogating them. So when you interrogate somebody, it's a lot different than interviewing somebody. When you're interviewing somebody, you're nice, and it's like you can be interviewing them for anything, right? Like a job or something. When you're interrogating somebody, it's not nice, and you're really trying to tighten the screws, and you're trying to make them uncomfortable, and you're trying to make them feel backed into a corner. You're trying to freak them out and mess with their head. It's the full psychops at full throttle. You interrogate these people. You interrogate these persons of interest. I mean, you start with interviewing, and then the people who stand out as persons of interest, you shift it into gear. You start interrogating them. It's really simple. I mean, that's like detective work 101. Like any of us that aren't detectives, we know that. But you certainly don't interview persons of interest and suspects. You don't just interview them. You've got to interrogate them. Unless you're friends with them and you're just pretending to interview them, right? So I wanted to share with you guys, and we'll wrap it up because we're at an hour now. Let's see, I'm just checking out this one that says, did it confuse anyone else when they came out with the presser saying they are only looking for small things now, like a phone, etc.? Well, from the beginning, well, we're not really looking for her. We're just looking for her necklaces or her necklace. You guys are crazy. Man, Truckie's crazy. Out of control crazy. So I wanted to share with you guys my dream team of a panel, because some of these channels do their panels, and the ones that I know the best are like Zav, Captain Kurt Reacts, Upchurch, Squirrels on Fire, and Kelly with What's the Obsession. These are all channels that have a very, very good track record with their panel discussions. Okay. So you need to have somebody in charge who knows how to be in charge. And I mean, those panel discussions are where you're going to get, I think, the best material possible. Myrrh in a burr in her fur. I don't really know what you're getting at. I'm on an Android. Can't hardly type, let alone change your icon. LOL. Okay, we won't worry about that. Thank you, Tim Norton. I'm going to pin that. Very, very good. Okay, thank you. What day did they close the road to Prosser? Was it after the 911 call on the 17th? Damn good question. So the people on my dream team panel, and you don't want it to be too big, but these are my folks. If I could have anybody in a panel with me, I would say, please, our 22 cents. Both of the Squirrel Girls, so Squirrels on Fire and Squirrel Girl, CNY, Kevin Neese, What's the Obsession, Zav, Upchurch, Captain Kurt. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I got to be in there too. And I'm sure I'm leaving out so many good ones. That one whose name is kind of like Tsunami, she's brilliant. And Living Lake Time, I'm not so sure that either one of them are interested in panels, but if they haven't been, maybe they'd think about it, because I think they'd be really good putting their 2 cents in. Also, Plunder, I don't think has ever been in a panel that I know of, or had a panel. And that might not be her thing, but wouldn't we all love to see Plunder in a panel? Or what about Christina Randall, man? Christina Randall in a panel? Come on, girl. Get out there. Living Lake Time is hilarious. He did a couple of really not funny videos today or yesterday. I highly recommend him all the time. Check him out. Give him some love. He's really not afraid to say what needs to be said. I hope that I'm not afraid to say what needs to be said. I've said some things that I would really prefer not to say, but I think they need to be. So, taking one for the team, basically. It's all about Kylie. You don't let teens run the investigation. What? Wait a second. Who put you in charge? Okay. Rihanna? How am I saying that not right? Rhiannon. I'm thinking of like a Fleetwood Mac song. Okay. Brilliant. And Crime and Crochet are my hyper focus. Nobody can change your icon. If your icon is changed, click your email in case someone has got your login details. Activate 2-factor authentication too. All right. So I want to read the one that I highlighted again, because this is where we can leave off today's live. And I appreciate you guys so much coming to my live. I always hate to end them. You could just go on forever and ever. You don't let teens run the investigation. Hello. Wow. You don't let teens run the investigation. So maybe a little corruption, maybe a lot of corruption from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the top, from the front to the beginning, from the beginning to the end, all the way, all around, corrupt, corrupt, corrupt. Take a drink of water. Yeah, the first big red flags for me were Jagger saying the cops want me to filter tips. Right. And Sammy said that too. And then it seemed like the cops were backing Sammy up, but not backing Jagger up. So yeah, these people made themselves suspects early on. So we still don't know who those people in the footage from roadside assistance guy, we don't know if that is Kylie indeed and who the male is. After re-listening to that 45-minute, 42-minute drop that Squirrel Girl shared with us yesterday, and I'm going to listen to it again probably before the day is over. They definitely didn't rule Jagger out as who the male in the SF ball cap with the flat bill. I don't like flat bills. But anyway, they definitely did not rule him out. Like the first time I watched it, I kind of thought they did. I was like, oh, they're saying that's not Jagger. But no, they're not saying that. They're basically saying they don't know who it is. So still could very well be Jagger, in my opinion. Jagger and Sammy both wanted to be contact points. Totally effed up. Right. And what's totally effed up is that law enforcement didn't go after them and say, well, obviously you're suspects then because you're talking crazy and, we're on to you. The whole thing had the Children of the Corn vibe from the start. I just felt that way. Man, you're cracking me up, Moxie. That is not a movie I have seen. I'm not into horror movies, but I believe you, and I've heard other people throw that one out there. So on that, that's so nice. Jennifer Taylor, I'm going to highlight this one and then sign off. I just love being put in the same sentence with these dear men, Kevin Neese and Harsh Reality. And me have kept her sane through this. That is really, really sweet. And you guys have kept me sane. I am so serious. Like, what would I have done without this channel as an outlet if I was just like watching the whole Kylie thing and doing what I've been doing for the last couple of years, thinking, well, maybe someday I'll start a channel. Maybe I won't. So this has just felt like such a productive outlet for me, and it helps me keep my focus. And I do so much better when I have structure and focus. So that's my thing, and I'm sticking to it. Oh yeah, I like what you just said, Crime and Crochet. Jagger seems to have a popular trucky look. Absolutely. But there's so many reasons to be suspicious of him, even if it wasn't him that was there. I still think he's highly involved. So thanks, you guys. Please take great care of yourself. Keep yourself safe. Keep yourself sane. Keep yourself well fed and well exercised and well rested and well hydrated. On that, I will see you in the morning, bright and early, probably. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and just, put your feet up, take the rest of the day off. I love to tell people that, even like I say, even if you can't, just flip that switch in your head and just kind of pretend you have a license to chill and to treat yourself well.